everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show YouTube channel. The best way to support the show on this YouTube channel is to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and or share it with a friend. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode, and whichever way you choose to support the show, I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I hope that today's message and episode brings some bit of positive change to your life. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I am your host, Emily Hayden, and you are joining me for a solo episode. I sat down right before this episode to write some notes out and figure out exactly what it was that I wanted to share with you guys. And if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see my wonderful notes that I have written. I'm showing the screen right now. For those of you that are just listening, it's a blank page because I sat up here and I started thinking about what I wanted to share with you guys, and it just kind of was in my head. And that's usually how I operate anyways. If I can, I'll try to write some bullet points down, or I'll have some things, in my mind. But I've found that when I just let go of control and I allow myself to be in the moment and I share just naturally what it is that's on my heart, that those usually end up being the best ones, sometimes the most effective. So I wanted to have some notes today, but we're just going to go with the flow and see where it leads. I'm curious, when is the last time that you guys felt like you were romanced? And this could mean something different for every person, but when's the last time that you had dinner cooked for you, or surprise flowers show up for you, or any of these little things that are romantic? And there's probably a lot of people that are listening who maybe you have that in your life. And if you do have that in your life, then man, cherish every single moment of that. Really appreciate the fact that you get to have a partner in life that does those things for you, that puts that kind of effort in, and understand that there's a lot of people out there that, man, they would give anything just to have that loving relationship that you have. So just a reminder to those that are in that kind of relationship where that is happening and you're in love and they love you and you love them back, to not take it for granted. Even in the little arguments that you guys have and things that happen, why don't you just choose to let things go a little bit quicker? And why don't you choose to show your appreciation and your gratitude for the beautiful person that you have right in front of you, who's opened their heart to you, who's clear and effective with their communication and honest and consistent. If you have those things, don't take it for granted. It can be really easy to get comfortable in a situation, right? It's new and fresh in the beginning, and then maybe a year or 2 years in, maybe more, you start to just kind of know that that's normal. Like, it's normal that they're honest with you and that they're transparent and that they're consistent and that they're faithful and loyal. And there's a lot of people that are not experiencing that. So just don't take it for granted. Be appreciative of it, express your gratitude for them, and choose to let things go a little bit quicker today. Now, for those of you that, when I said that question, it made you a little sad because honestly, it's been a very long time. I'm here to tell you that, one, you're not going to be single forever. But two, we are always being romanced. It's whether or not our eyes are open to it and whether or not we are open to different manifestations of that romancing occurring. So this topic and this kind of the way that I'm bringing this up was brought on by a book that I'm reading called Captivating by John and Stasi Eldredge. And this is written particularly to women from a Christian perspective. They do have a men's version, but I think regardless of what you believe, or if you're a Christian or not, or if you believe in God or not, I do believe that the overall idea of this is something that everybody can really benefit from. And I know that if you were just to take the overall idea of this, if you were to really understand the meaning behind it and apply it to your life, I believe you could get something really valuable out of it. So I don't want that to detour anyone from hearing the message that's here today. So they, in this chapter, are talking about being romanced, and they ask, what are the things that romanced your heart as a girl? Was it horses in a field? The fragrance of the air after a summer rain? Was it a favorite book like The Secret Garden? The first snowfall of winter? Those were all whispers, notes sent to awaken your heart's longings. As we journey into true intimacy with God as women, He often brings those things back into our lives to remind us that He was there to heal and restore things that were lost or stolen. Every song you love, every memory you cherish, every moment that has moved you to tears has been given to you from God, who has been pursuing you from your first breath in order to win your heart. God's version of flowers and chocolate and a candlelight dinner comes in the form of sunsets, falling stars, moonlight on lakes, cricket symphonies, warm wind, swaying trees, lush gardens, and fierce devotion. This romancing is immensely personal. It will be as if it has been scripted for your heart. He knows what takes your breath away and knows what makes your heart beat faster. We have missed many of these notes simply because we shut our hearts down in order to endure the pain of life. Now, in our healing journey as women, we must open our hearts again and keep them open, not foolishly to anyone and anything, but yes, we must choose to open our hearts again so that we might hear these whispers and receive. So I want to ask you guys, what are those things that are specific to you that light your heart on fire, that just sets your heart on fire, that awakens your heart's longings? I can think for myself, usually for me, it's in nature. It's the sunset in Venice Beach. I used to watch it every single day. At the end of the day, no matter what I was doing, I would figure out what a time sunset was exactly, and I would make time to go out there, and I would watch it, and I would breathe. And those were some of the most beautiful moments that I had. Like, even just thinking about it, I can get like teary-eyed thinking about, I was just so captivated by the beauty. And that's definitely something that awakens my heart's longings. Man, even now today, I can be sitting on Instagram looking at reels of some of the most beautiful sights that nature and that earth has to offer us. And it just it wrecks my heart in the most beautiful way. It absolutely awakens my heart's longings. And I just know, I'm like, I have to experience this. I have to experience more of earth and more of nature and more of just the beauty that is around us all the time. And those moments, it could be something like a hummingbird flying by, or the bloom of a beautiful flower, or the laugh of a child, or just all these little things that awaken your heart just a little bit more. Something inside of you is awakened. It's refreshed. It creates this longing inside of your heart. It's going to be different for every person, but I think it's important that you recognize what these things are in your life. And now, with this new knowing that each and every person was created differently and uniquely and special, and you're created for a purpose, your heart's longings were also created. What you love, what you're interested in, what sets your heart on fire, it's so different from every other person, and it's different for a reason. That's why it's important to know what it is, first and foremost. And then secondly, to have an awareness to know that this is specific to you. Your heart's longings and what awakens you, sure, we could have similar ones, but if you keep going throughout life with an open mind to experience these things, what you'll realize is you'll start to notice that the things that set your heart on fire could be nature, could be issues in life, could be politics, could be a religion, could be fitness, I don't know, could be all these different things, right? You'll start to get a specific list that is specific and unique to you that doesn't match any other person's list. And it's important to recognize this because if you're someone that maybe you haven't been romanced, quote unquote, in a while, why don't you start to open your eyes and to look around? Because the truth is, life, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, is always romancing you. You just have to be clear and focused, meaning you can't be distracted. If you're distracted, if you're always scrolling on your phone, if you're addicted to social media or to the news, or if you look at everything with a surface level mentality, you're going to miss it. How many moments do you think you've missed simply by being distracted? How many moments do you think you've missed simply by giving into your emotions of the moment? How many moments do you think you've missed that have been all around you all the time? Maybe you can look back with perspective now and understand, that moment, it was created for me. That thing that sets my heart on fire, I experienced it and I didn't see it then, but I see it now. And maybe for the majority of it, you were too distracted to even realize that it was present, that it was there. You might think right now, even as I'm talking about this, I haven't experienced any of these moments in a very long time. And the truth is, you're probably experiencing little micro moments, little moments like this all the time that your awareness is not caught up to yet. So by now hearing about this, I hope that you guys will take some time to reflect and figure out what are those things that are romancing your heart. I want you to imagine the version of yourself that is distracted. You are focusing on the things that you don't have. You're focused on lack. You have a very surface level mentality. You're not looking at the deeper meaning behind things and people and situations. And imagine that version of you operating in your daily life with your significant others, your loved ones, your friends, your family, social media, your job. Maybe you're living in your purpose, but imagine that version of you. Now, imagine the version of you that is rooted in gratitude, that has an opened mindset, perspective, a growth mindset. You're looking at the deeper meaning behind everything. Your eyes and your attention and your focus is clear, and it's looking at everything around you with eyes to see, meaning you expect to see this romancing. You're looking for it everywhere you go. You're on the prowl. Your eyes are open. You turn the corner and you wonder, is this going to be where I have this? Imagine that version of you, and imagine the version of you where your heart is literally set on fire. You're experiencing these things, those moments that just wreck your heart in the most beautiful way. It brings you to tears. What would you create? What would you say? What would you be about? What would you do in that second version of you? What are the opportunities? What are the possibilities? What is your potential? Wouldn't you want to be in that state? Now be honest with yourself. What state are you currently in? And if there was a line, would you be more leaning towards the side that is distracted and unfocused and living in lack and focusing on the things or the people that you don't have? Or are you leaning on the side of gratitude and growth mindset and abundance living and believing and having faith for yourself and your situation, having faith for love, having faith that things will work out for you? Which side are you leaning more on? And your job and your goal today is to be honest with yourself, identify where you're currently at, and then to take a few steps toward the direction that you want to be going. And I think one way that you can do that is to start to identify what sets your heart on fire, and then start to incorporate more of those things into your life. You don't have to travel to the ends of the earth to see the most beautiful version of Earth. If maybe you're not able to do that, maybe you don't have the freedom to go do that or to plan that or to even start to plan that. But maybe in your free time, instead of scrolling the news or scrolling your regular social media, maybe you could experience like a little micro moment of it where you look up a travel page who goes to the most beautiful places on earth and you watch a reel and that reel brings you to tears. That's a little micro moment that you're able to have. And I use the example of nature because it's just very specific to me, but replace that with whatever it is that sets your heart on fire. And some of you may be thinking and you may be saying, I have no idea what sets my heart on fire. Then I would tell you to go and experience as many new things as you possibly can. Talk to your friends, talk to loved ones, ask them about what they like, ask them about what sets their heart on fire. Go and try some of those things. Go experience some of those things. Start to figure out what it is that sets your heart on fire. I also think that the reason why we experience these things at different capacities, for example, maybe I can be sitting with a loved one or a friend or somebody watching a sunset. And for me, it's like a level 10 out of 10. Like, don't talk to me. I'm on the verge of tears. And I also don't want to hear what you have to say. I want to experience the beauty that is right in front of me. Like, it's a 10 of 10 experience for me. And maybe for them, it's a 6 of 10 or maybe a 5 of 10. Like, to them, it's beautiful, but it's really not a big deal to them. But to me, it's like, it's everything. There's a reason for that. And I think it's important to start to identify that for yourself, because I think that part of our journey on earth here is to find those things and to follow those things. I think that those things lead us to our life's purpose and the things in our life's journey that we are meant to experience. We only have such a limited time here on earth. Like, once you die, once your clock runs out, it's over. You don't get a second shot. So why would you not find those things that set your heart on fire, and why would you not go full force towards them? Why would you wait? Why would you say, oh, maybe I'll experience it 5 years from now? I have my 5-year plan. I've got to do this, that, and the other before I get to do those things. Or I have to take care of this before I do that. There's sense in being responsible. I think that we are to be responsible with what we're given. If you don't appreciate and be responsible with what you have, you probably won't get more. Absolutely. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't be responsible. But what I am saying is don't delay the things that set your heart on fire. Figure out a way to experience them. If you can experience them fully, dive in and experience it fully. And if you have to have little micro moments of it, whichever way you experience, through a book, through a podcast, through a video on YouTube, guys, anything that you desire to experience is probably on YouTube. You could probably search it if there's a specific thing. There's so many different ways that you can have any sort of imagine it as a touch point. You can have these little touch points with the things that set your heart on fire. So figure out how to incorporate more of these touch points in your life and just be really aware. You may be going throughout life and realizing that nothing that you're doing is setting your heart on fire right now. And if that's the case, don't stay down in that pit. Just recognize it and say, okay, well, let me go experience some of these things. And then let me figure out, how can I create more of a life that is aligned with these things? And not saying that you can go travel the world and experience these things, which you could, by the way. That's an opportunity. You can. But I'm saying it's not that you have to go do that, but how can you incorporate more of your heart's longings in your day-to-day? Because what I've really learned in my life is that life is not about these hilltop or mountaintop moments. Those moments are so few in between, and where the real meat of life is in the day-to-day. So how can you create the life that you desire? A few years ago on YouTube, I created a series called Create Your Life. And I haven't gone back to watch any of that. I'm so curious what was in that. But I do know that my goal in my life at that time was to create a beautiful life that I desired and to live it out fully. And I wanted to share with other people, just in a really raw way, how I was doing that for myself. And the whole point of that series was to show you that, there's a lot of things that we can't control in life, but you are in control of probably more than you realize. You're in control of how your morning goes. You're in control if you do a morning routine that sets you up for success or not. You're in control of the decisions that you make throughout the day. You're in control of the situations that you allow yourself to be in, which could create more opportunity for yourself or could destroy a relationship or destroy a business or all these different things, right? Like you every single day are gifted with different decisions. Every single day you wake up and you can make a decision that points you more in the direction of where you would like to go in life, more in the direction of your heart's longings, or you make decisions that keep you where you're at, that keep you stuck, or worse, make you regress. I think we have two options in life. We can either evolve or die. I know that seems really extreme, but you don't have to wait for your funeral to die. There's a lot of people that I believe are walking around in death. Death to me can mean death of a dream, death of purpose, death of belonging, death of fulfillment. And people are walking around and accepting that as if that's what life is. That's not life. That's not living. Living to me is identifying these heart's longings, is going after it, is being your best self, being your most excellent self, being the fullest version of you. Because literally no one else can do that. That's living to me. If you're being the fullest version of you, and I mean the raw version of you, not the edited version of you, not the filtered version of you, not the cropped version of you that's on Instagram, but I mean the fullest version of you in every single scenario, situation, circumstance, conversation. If you're being that fullest version of yourself and you're chasing after every longing of your heart, every desire that you have, everything that awakens your heart, if you're going after that fully day by day, that's fully living. Choosing to evolve is fully living because you're choosing the hard thing. Evolving's not easy, and evolving is definitely not pretty. What it produces is the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful version of life that you could have ever imagined. But the journey and the process of getting there can be hard, can be difficult, it can be painful. Sometimes that requires you making big changes in life. Sometimes it requires that you leave a relationship that is toxic, that is harmful, that is abusive. Sometimes it requires you taking a leap of faith and moving across the country to maybe experience something that might awaken your heart's longings because you have faith that it might, knowing full well it might not. And that's okay. And you taking that leap anyways, you taking that jump of faith anyways. Evolving is hard because it requires that you do the uncomfortable thing. You can't evolve and learn and grow and develop into the best version of yourself without doing the things that produce that result, which require discipline and structure and time management and these things that people don't want to pay attention to. They don't want to put their focus on. They would rather scroll on Instagram. They would rather rattle off excuses as to why they're not where they want to be in life. Evolving is the hard thing because lazy people can't do it. Evolving is the hard thing because it's easier to make excuses as to why you are where you are. Evolving is a hard thing because we're in a generation and a society of people that praise the victim mentality. It's almost like who can be the bigger victim? Who has the bigger sob story? When in reality, no one has a better or bigger story than anyone. It's all relative to your life experience. And to be totally honest, no one else cares that much about what you went through because they didn't experience the pain that it was attached to. But it's what you do with what you went through. What you do with what you went through is so vitally important. And I think that everyone that wants to go from this victim mentality into the life that they're actually being called to, they have to first accept and realize what they went through. And then they have to stop attaching their identity to it. So many people attach their identity to this thing that happened or this thing that they went through as if, they put this label on themselves. Like, I am the person that blank, experienced this. That's who I am. Are you kidding? You think when God, the creator of the universe and of the world, was designing you, they designed you as the person that went through something really tragic and horrible? No, that's not even close to why you were created. That's not even close to your true identity. It's something that you went through, and it's actually something that has shaped you into who you are. It's something that is pointing you in the direction of who you were created to be and the people you were designed to help. Did you know that? Did you know that the things that you went through are actually pointing you in the direction of the exact group of people in the audience that you were meant to help? And I don't mean audience in the form of on social media. I just mean audience in the form of the group of people that I believe that you were called to. And I believe that we're all called to a group of people. And that's why I think it's so important not to judge other people and not to judge what job they have, what relationship they're in, what circle they hang around in, or, what they've done in their past and their mistakes and their failures. I think it's so important not to judge any of those people because it says God so loved the world. And when you look at Jesus and you look at his life in the Bible, it shows the groups of people that he hung around. He hung around robbers and thieves and prostitutes and also really great people and kings and all sorts of people, right? So it's important in our life that we don't ostracize or judge or look down upon any group of people, because I think the things that people struggle with, those are the groups of people that they are called to help. So let's say an alcoholic, for example. Maybe you look down on your uncle or your aunt or someone like that because they're an alcoholic and they struggled with it their whole lives and they just got sober and they're 2 years sober, but you're so resentful over the past and over things that they did and things that they said that you can't truly forgive them and accept them for who they are, even though now they have this huge passion and desire to help other people through the thing that destroyed their life and destroyed their family and their friendships and their significant other, types of relationships. It's important we don't judge them because that's the person that God uses. Did you know that God will use you no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done? There's nothing too bad and nothing too negative and nothing that is beyond where God could use you. if you turn your life around, if you truly turn your life around and you're pointed in the direction of living out your calling and your purpose now, there's nothing that can hold you back from stepping into that other than, in my opinion, you. We are our hardest critic. We are our own worst critic. And I think sometimes our own negative self-talk, our own negative self-belief, our own shame, our own guilt can hold us back from taking steps in the direction of why we were put here on this earth. And I think if you can work past the shame and the guilt and the everything that you're dealing with, all those feelings that come with that, if you can do the work, which is difficult, requires facing all of those moments, working through them, forgiving yourself through them, forgiving other people through them. If you can work through those moments, you'll actually step out of those things, step out of that season, step out of the guilt and the shame, and you'll start walking in grace. You'll start walking into a new season of life. You'll walk with a lighter step, a new spirit, and you'll find fulfillment in new things. And you'll be able to look someone in the eyes and tell them, I promise I know what you're going through. I experienced those things, and now I'm here. And that person's going to look at you with tears in their eyes and looking at you with just the tiniest amount of hope. You're going to give them the tiniest amount of hope, which is going to end up being the exact thing and the right amount of hope that they need to simply keep going and to not quit on themselves, to not quit on life. And you're going to give them enough hope to know that if it changed for you, given how bad your situation was, how horrible it seemed, how it seemed like it was the end of the world, if it changed for you, it can change for them. And guess what that does? That brings unity. And I think, guys, we're put on this earth for so many different reasons, but we were hardwired for connection. We're hardwired for love, to be loved and to love others, for belonging, to feel important, to feel seen, to feel heard, to belong to someone or to something or a group of people, and to have purpose within that. So I think when we realize these things, we realize we're really not all that different. I know the messaging of the world today wants to label everyone and everything and sub-label everyone and everything. And I think that oftentimes what that can do is just create more division to show how different we are than everyone else. And yes, we are unique and we are special. I believe that more than anyone. But I don't believe in attaching our identity to man-made labels and identification systems and boxes and groups that separate us from other people. At the end of the day, the human race is a human race. And at the end of the day, we are all so much more than these human bodies or a human bodysuit that we're in. We're so much more than that. We're all souls. Sometimes I wish that we could walk around and that all we would see is the soul's expression of the other person. I try to look for that when I meet people. I try to look at, who is your soul? What are you about? Why are you here? Why were you created? You know, what is your purpose? What is your unique gift and talent? What do you bring to the table? Because I know whatever you bring to the table, I know I don't have it. I know what I bring to the table, and I know that that's special and unique and important, but I'm so curious and so interested to find out the expression of your soul and of your spirit, because I know it's so important. And hey, if I can take a tool from your toolkit and put it in my toolkit, it'll help me better. It'll help make me better. And then I'll give you a tool from my toolkit, and hopefully that'll make you better. That's the point of life, right? So identify in your life, what are these things that awaken your heart's longings? Identify if you are able to experience those things right now today. It could be a simple mindset switch. It could be a switch from being distracted, head always down, to simply just raising your eyes and looking up and looking at the beautiful things around you. As you get in your car to go to work, you're not looking down and just getting inside the car real quick. You're looking up and you're noticing the nature that's around you. You're noticing a bird. You're noticing a flower that blossomed. You're noticing the sun that's peeking through the clouds. You're just noticing these little things, and you are allowing them to romance your heart. Start looking for ways in which earth, situations, people, children, how can these things romance your heart? How can they awaken your heart? How can they awaken your heart's longings and start experiencing these things? Absolutely look for those hilltop moments too and plan those. Those can be more of the longer term things that you look forward to. Don't ever place it on a pedestal, because that's not reality and that's not real life. I think real life is what happens in the day to day. But plan for those things. It'll be exciting to work for. And I want to say, in addition to that, sometimes people can get so fixated on one thing that they love. Like, for example, let's just say like music festivals, right? I love music festivals. I love music in general. It absolutely romances my heart in such a beautiful way. But if I were just to hyper focus on that and do that and only that, I would be missing out on all these little intricacies of life that were designed to romance my heart. So it's important to me to never focus on that one thing. It can be a part of my life, but it can never become my life. And I also seek out and actively search, what new thing is going to romance my life? What is it going to be next? Is it going to be a sunrise? Is it going to be a mountain? Is it going to be a beautiful piece of art? What are these next things that are going to romance my heart? Because I feel like just like your DNA code or your DNA, right? You have all these different things that make up your DNA. I think you have all these different things that awaken your heart's longings and desires and give you a little peek into your specific soul and spirit. So I think it's important that you identify those things, make sure that they have an active part of your life. You look forward to those moments that, like I mentioned, are the hilltop moments. And you have the understanding that you don't have to have a physical person here on earth that you are in a romantic relationship with in order to experience romance. If you're a believer of God and of Jesus, know that you were created this way because God wants to romance you. He gives you these little gifts. I like to call them their little treasures or little pieces of heaven. I'm like, that's a little piece of heaven. I think that that's a little piece of heaven on earth. And so just know that you're being romanced all the time. You're being given these sweet gifts all the time. Switch your mind from lack, from victim mentality, from lack into gratitude, into growth, into abundance, into recognizing all of the beautiful things that have been right in front of you all the time. Oftentimes, you don't have to change your circumstance or your environment in order to experience romance or experience love. And you don't have to meet someone new to experience that. Oftentimes, you just have to change your perspective. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Evolve with Emily. I appreciate your support. I know it's been quite the journey. Man, I have some people that tagged me in my very first episode the other day, and I'm like, whew, that was a long time ago. But I wanted to let you guys know that Evolve with Emily, just like it started as a YouTube channel, it turned into a group coaching program. It turned into online coaching and one-on-one coaching. It turned into Evolve X, which is now my mentorship and coaching group. It turned into this podcast. It's turning into something new. And it's something that people have asked me to do for a very long time. And so it's just going to be another manifestation of evolving. And I'm really excited to bring that to you guys. And that's all I'm going to tell you for right now. I just wanted to kind of like put it on the horizon that is in the works, and it's actually happening this time. So thank you guys so much for listening. If this episode was helpful, I would love if you guys would give me some feedback on the episode, especially on the solo episodes. Do you enjoy them? What kind of format do you like? Do you like when I share things from books? Do you like when I do a Q&A? What are the things that make up a really impactful and valuable episode to you? Let me know what those things are, and I'll do my best to bring that to you guys. Please share this podcast on your Insta stories, text it to a friend. You can rate and review the show. I would really appreciate if you guys would do that on Apple Podcasts. And without further ado, have an amazing day. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.